Hey everyone, it's me, Lauren, your creative mentor. And welcome back. Welcome back to the Managing Yourself month. Welcome back to the podcast. You should go watch me on YouTube. I look fabulous today. If this is your first time interacting with my podcast, hi, hello. My name's Lauren. This is a podcast that was born out of frustration because I'm a 30-year-old woman who's on TikTok all the time. And through the pandemic, I listened to a lot of art students feel just as frustrated as I was in art school almost 8 to 9 years ago. So everyone seems to be frustrated that no one can tell them how to apply creativity to a career that makes them feel like that it's paying the bills. So that's how I felt, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to help you understand this. And I always say this, so if you're not new here, you know the drill, but I think you should vet people before you listen to any advice anyone wants to give you about your career, your money, or your life. And so a couple things to know about me is I've been in the design industry for about 8 years. I've worked for everyone in every kind of design job. I'm self-taught, and I actually, this podcast is built out of a mentorship class that I did for a semester with the AIGA. I'm not affiliated with the AIGA. I am a member. I have found happiness in my creative joy and my career success. I define success monetarily, so the more money I can get, the happier I am. I like to work for corporations, but I've worked for myself a couple of ways. I have side hustles, I have a day job, and I do this. And I think that a lot of people don't know how much you can navigate a design career or a creative career because they don't have the tools. Because you're only as good as your tools and your context, and there are so many tools out there that I just want to give you so you have all the information and access, because also the design industry specifically is not very diverse, and I don't know why that is, but I think it should be different, so I want you all to know. So you probably found me on TikTok. I have quite a few of you over there. So I have more tips on my TikTok. If you're here from TikTok, I love to see it. You should go check it out otherwise. But today, specifically, we're going to talk about the business of working for yourself. So last week we talked about managing ourselves and self-discipline and like what that could look like and how it's actually super unique and individual to each person. So today I want to talk about things that can help you manage a business. Because when you have your own creative business and you're just one person, or you haven't gotten to a point where you have employees, because, we're starting small and growing up. That's what this podcast is about. Whether you're a student or you're pivoting your career or you're doing something like, we're not quite intermediate advanced yet, and that's totally cool. So some things to think about for if you, in the time of the pandemic, we've all had time. We've all been in our house. A lot of us still are. Some of us are looking for work. Some of us are committing to our own work, which I think's great. But some things that can help you are, creating an LLC and things like that. But hearing that's really easy, and doing it can be overwhelming if you don't know where to look. So here's some things that I have done. And if you're, I saw this in like a comment on one of my TikToks of like, hey, can you help if you just spontaneously set up an EIN LLC in the pandemic and you don't know what you're doing? This is the episode for that. So what I did for the first time is exactly that. I set up an LLC and an EIN for my business. And if you're watching me on YouTube, I did use quotes because it's not a business in the sense I think a lot of people think about it. So first, let's start off with what are these letters? What do they mean? So an LLC is a limited liability company. And you can be an individual and be an LLC. So for example, my LLC is LCV Creative, which is just my initials, and creative. So that tells the IRS essentially and the business Congress, whatever, wherever they register you as a business for your state. It is state by state. That just lets them know I'm a business entity. And if you're in America, where I am, and you are following along with that, one thing we really heard loud and clear in the pandemic is that the government loves business more than it loves people. So I said, okay, bet, I'll do that. So that's why I became an LLC. Because when you're your own company, any money you spend or make within your LLC is separated from your person. So Lauren Versino's money and LCV Creative's money is different, even though I'm technically an entity with both. So how that can help you is, one, you can get a line of credit automatically with your business. So that's really nice because you can get a credit card, you can get a debit card, you can get a bank account. This is what an EIN is for. I don't know I think that's an electronic identification number. It might not be electronic. I really should have looked that up specifically before I started talking. But an EIN essentially is a tax number, or quote unquote a social security number for your business, which enables you to take money from people. Now, you're going to have to file taxes for that separately and all of that stuff, but we'll worry about that later. We're talking about the perks of this stuff. So what I did the second I saw how much the pandemic cared about businesses more than people was created a business for myself. And immediately, any pin stock I made, because I make enamel pins, I wanted for my Etsy, I put on this credit card. Any membership, like AIGA membership fees, put it on my business credit card. I had to outfit my office for the pandemic to work from home. I put it on my business credit card. All of my Patreon money, thanks guys, all of my Etsy money, all of that stuff goes into my business so that my business will pay taxes on that, not me personally as income. So most likely how that will help me is I will pay less taxes on that income than if I was an individual. So like that is how that shit can help you a ton. And so it's really nice to be able to put something on a credit card for my creative endeavors that isn't the money that I need to pay my mortgage, pay my groceries, buy my animals food, buy myself clothes, yada, yada, yada. Because like it's fun to do that, don't get me wrong, but you always feel a little guilty buying art supplies doing that stuff, don't you? And that sucks, and it shouldn't feel like that. And I don't feel so pressed to pay all that money off right away because it's my business. It doesn't affect me, Lauren. Like my credit is intact. My money is intact. My business is paying for all of that stuff. So if I wanted to pay for a Skillshare class or go to a seminar or go to a design convention or any of that stuff, my business can pay for it. And at the end of the year, I can write all of that stuff off and get more money back for it than I would have as an individual paying for it out of quote unquote entertainment budget, which you don't get money back on because you can't write off going to like a movie or whatever. So like that's something that can just fucking help you so much when you're getting started. And so I think anyone who's kind of impulsively done that, I don't think it's the worst thing, but I think you need to like be ready in your mind to like manage the taxes and keep track of that paperwork. Because if you keep track of your paperwork when you go talk to a tax professional at the end of the year, they can set you up to get the most money back. And like, I'm still on a learning curve for this. I am not an expert on this. There are other people around me who probably know way more about this than I do. But just like framing it in the way of like, I don't have to use Lauren money, I can use Lauren business money is awesome. And I have income streams every week or every month from something. So like, even if it's only like $100 a month from like Etsy or something and $25 a month from here, like my business does make money. And if it makes money at a loss, then that's just more tax benefits for me, honestly. And your business, you can apply to grants. You can write, proposals for projects, and like you can use all of that to keep that money separate so that you have more success with the money that you use. So that stuff is like super duper helpful to think about. I don't think it hurts to sit and think about like, what are costs to consider? Do you want to like start an Etsy? Like how, like you should have structure to any like financial endeavor you go on. But, if you just kind of impulsively did that, I don't think it's the worst to have done it in the pandemic because we are all just trying to figure out how to game these systems. Because something else that you would see on TikTok, if you're on there like I am, people kind of always ask, like, why do I have to do so much work to prevent getting tricked? Whether I'm going to the mechanic or I'm talking about not paying, interest on medical debt or like getting out of student loans. Like, why are we being tricked so hard? Why do I have to work so hard to not be tricked? That's how I feel about being a creative with like a business, essentially, with having an LLC and an EIN. It's like, okay, like there are tax codes that help me here that if I didn't have this, I would be paying technically full price without it. Like that seems like a scam. Like if there's like two systems happening here, so why wouldn't I do one? And in the state of Illinois, it doesn't cost much it cost me like $200 to get an EIN and an LLC. So I was like, I could do that. And then I just put a couple bucks in the bank account and like off I went, got my credit card. And, I've sat in on a couple of design seminars and things online and all sorts of stuff that I've paid for. It's been great. It doesn't show up on my personal bills. So I'll put like the irs.gov resources to kind of like walk you through like how the taxes of that work and like how you can apply in your state for that, if that is something that interests you. And something else I want you to think about, because this is something I'm going on a little bit of an adventure about, is so back in the day, in case you didn't know, I started a streetwear brand with a friend that has since failed. But you know what? We fail and we learn. But we didn't have any legal anything set up between the two of us, both as partners and as a business. And we crowdsourced like a couple $1,000s to get this going and whatever. So something I wish I had known then that I do now is that if you want to start a small business, even if you're a creative business, but if you want to go through like the proper like business process, or your dream is to work for yourself and set up an online shop where you sell originals, or an online shop where you sell like accessories and shirts and stuff, anything. Business should have a plan because the plan helps you stay structured within your goals. And we learned last week that you should write down what you want out of an endeavor so that it helps guide you through whatever success looks like for you through that endeavor. So something I'm currently navigating, because I'm trying to do a business with two other friends for like a queer lifestyle brand situation, is that there is something called the small business, what is it? It's SBG. If you go to sbg.gov, it's essentially, there is an entire federal infrastructure to help people start small businesses because it's in the federal government's best interest for all of us to do this. And so what I have learned on that adventure is you get a business advisor for free. You just get to meet with somebody for free who knows literally everything about business, and you can ask them whatever question you want under the sun. There are free seminars to teach you how to look at analytics, to teach you how to advertise, to teach you how to get a brick and mortar store, all for free. And then they can point you to like, are there federal grants you apply for if you're like a woman-owned business or like a minority-owned business or a queer-owned business? Does it help you get certified in like, different kind of like the LGBT community, like certification business, whatever. There are boot camps you can take. There are practice seminars to like walk into banks and ask for startup loans and a plan to pay back those loans and to understand all of that stuff for free. People go to business school. They pay for college degrees to learn that shit. And the government just went, yo, have this for free, but we will never tell you this exists. Isn't that crazy? That is so crazy to me. So I've met with that person. I met with a business advisor, and I got like schooled on all of that stuff. And I'm set up to go to a boot camp to write a proper business proposal. I don't know how to write proposals, but I'm about to learn for free. 3 hours a day of class for 4 to 8 weekends for free. I will have a business plan outlined, like a proper entrepreneurial business plan outlined, where I can walk into a bank and go, yo, I want $10,000 for this project, and I have a plan to scale it and to pay this back in an amount of time and to advertise this correctly and to benefit the queer community that I am a part of through a lifestyle brand, because that's my jam. Watch me go. And like, all of that is a free resource. The only thing it's going to cost me and my partners is time and going to the bank to get a loan. That shit is bananas to me. And the fact that that is just out in the world for all of us blows me away. So I will put that in the Patreon in the links for free for you to go look at. And it's amazing. And another thing I was talking about with one of my friends when I went to go see her recently, because she started her own marketing firm in the pandemic. She just went, fuck corporate America. I'm doing this myself, which like, hell yeah. But what we were talking about, because she works with a lot of small businesses, is how when you work for like a giant corporation or a small business, it's kind of amazing how like there's this level of cluelessness happening in people's business where they don't think a lot about it, it seems. And like, to me, I want to know every single thing that's about to happen before I go jump into the lake. I have to know what fish are in there, what plants are in there, what's going to eat me, what's not going to eat me. I have to know all that before I jump in. Most people apparently don't feel this way. So we were talking about how it seems really lost somewhere that people aren't as engaged in their business at really high levels and really small levels, and like how that's surprising. And I don't want that for you. If you're someone who maybe impulsively made an LLC, or someone who's just like, I'm going to make this, because I also totally get like you have to just do it to make yourself figure it out. I do get that some people can't sit and like figure it out and then go. They have to go to figure it out. I totally get that. But like, how to stay engaged in your business so you don't end up on like Bar Rescue or some shit like that. Like, you just are amazed at these people that have got this startup money and started doing the damn thing. And then you're like, what the hell are you doing? What's going on? And I don't want that for you. And I just want you to know that like there's so much free resources out there. It's unbelievable. And you can learn all of this stuff. And I think something that freaks out creatives is when you start talking about like accounting and like getting a tax guy and getting a finance dude and like doing all that stuff, because it sounds expensive, and we don't we don't have any money. Like, none of us really do. And if we do, it's precious and we need to keep it. I totally get that. And so I just hope that those resources can help you understand how you can separate the money you do have for you into the money you want to have for your business, and how there are free resources to help you find people who benefit off of your success. They don't need you to pay them for you to be successful. They benefit off of your success. And an example I have is like, I have a money guy. Personally, like me, I just got to a place where I could go talk to like a financial advisor. And the thing that's great about him is, so for 100 years, I thought you had to pay financial advisors like every month or something. But the reality of the one that I have is that they benefit off of my like financial success. So like, you know, this might be too much information to share so publicly, but you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to do it for you guys. I actually have a small stock portfolio, and it's something I didn't really think I would get super serious about, but I am, because it's doing well. And so when I got this financial advisor to help me with that, the first thing I asked him was like, how do you make money? Because I don't pay you. Like, I don't get how you make money doing this. And like, more or less how he explained it, it was a little complicated, but it was like every transaction that happens within my portfolio is a micro transaction for him. It doesn't take it away from me or my portfolio. It's just like the money system in like whatever, which is super vague and probably not very helpful to you to understand. But the point I'm trying to make is that sometimes you think you have to pay for things that you don't. So you should still at least look it up and ask, because I think that prevents a ton of us from trying anything. We come up with so many reasons to not do something that we never even bother to try. And I think that number one, the most forever, applies to creative people. Because like I said, our time and our money is precious to us, and our creativity and our joy is precious to us. But I just want you to know, if this is something you're engaged in, or you're looking at, or you're serious about, or you're like, you know what? Fuck every job I've ever had. I'm going to do this myself. I'm going to figure it out. People work for themselves all the time. I'm going to do this. That's going to be me. I just want you to know it totally can be. There's so much out there for free. Financial advisors can be free. Accountants can benefit off of that. Tax people. There are, they might even just ask you to like pay for what you file. Like there's so much available to you. The federal government has an entire infrastructure for people to build businesses. There's free business advisors. There's free classes. There's free clinics to learn. Like information is free to run your own business. And that blows me away, because that is such a valuable thing people could monetize. Because like, think about it. Skillshare costs money. Lynda.com costs money. Listening to lectures costs money. Going to college costs money. It all costs money. So why the fuck is this free? Let's go. Let's take that free information. So that's like a huge adventure I'm like in the midst of, and I could not, like, I mean, you hear my disbelief right now. I could not believe how much of that information was free. I'm like waving my hands wildly and hitting my mic stand so much, but I'm just so passionate about this. Like, you guys can learn how to think about how to consider your costs for starting a business. You can learn to think about how to market things and how to work with social media to like get your business going, and like how to grow and expand, and think about distribution and like crap like that. Cause I hate shipping my own stuff. If I had the funds to pay someone to ship my pins for the like 5 orders a week I get, I would, but it's just not economically viable. I just need to suck it up and do it. But I love making pins and I love selling them, but I hate shipping them. It's just putting them in a bag. I don't know, but I just want you to know that if you're trying to manage yourself and to own a business and to manage all of that, I think owning a business is the most work anyone could put on themselves, because it's so like it all rides on you, and it's a high stakes, like high risk, high reward situation, if you ask me. I was super overwhelmed running my own business back in the day when I tried, and I just thought I knew what I was doing. I didn't even know. I just thought. I was going on a thought and a prayer and a kind of like too young for my own good gall about it, and it like it took off for a minute, and I think it would have done well if I didn't have such an issue with my business partner at the time. But you know, that's a learning experience. So now with my 2 other partners, we have partnership agreements. We meet twice a month to go over what we're doing. We have this boot camp going. We have our business advisor, and like we've been working on this concept for 2 years very actively. And like now we have a real structure of like what we're doing. We're finding our strengths as a team and like all of this stuff. So whether you're someone going on a business adventure by yourself or a business adventure with somebody else, there's so much support for you. And if you really feel like you're struggling, maybe you already started this adventure and you're just like hitting a wall and you don't really know why, and you're on like career TikTok and you're on like business coach TikTok, and some of it's helping and some of it's not. Try this. Try the sbg.gov resources and just see if it helps you. And something else I just want to like sidebar say is like when you sign up for an LLC, it is by state. So if I ever left Illinois, because I live in Chicago, I would have to close my business in Illinois and start it up wherever I move, whether that's like Virginia or Michigan or whatever. And their costs might be different, and it might like, you know, whatever, but that is something to consider too. So I just want you to know that in the spirit of managing yourself as a business, whether you're setting up an LLC to take on client work for tax reasons, or you're setting up an LLC to start a business like I'm about to do, like all of that, is so helpful because it just keeps your money separate. It keeps your liability insurance separate in case anyone sues you. They can't take your personal wealth. They can only take your business wealth if you've done the transaction through your business. There's so much help from the government, ironically, you can get that they'd never advertise to you that you can do. And it's just like so wild to me. I don't think I could say that enough. So I hope that like helps, especially if you just impulsively did this, because a couple of you commenters out there totally have, because you've told me. So I hope that helps. And I just want you to consider like what your needs are and what you're trying to achieve and what you want out of your achievement and if this will help. So you're only as good as your resources. So like I said earlier, I will put the IRS links to help you understand LLCs and EINs for money, and I'll put the sbg.gov site on there so you can go look for like the small business, whatever. I'm going to pull it up real quick. Yeah, the U.S. Small Business Administration. My bad. That's not a G. That's an A. It's the SBA. I've been saying it wrong the entire time. But yeah, there's business guides, there's funding programs, there's federal contracting, so you can get contracting assistance for women-owned businesses, veteran assistant programs, mentoring and protege programs, so you can find mentors through here depending on what you're looking for. There's learning platforms, business boot camps, emerging leader initiatives, any local assistance. So if you want to go to an office to talk to someone where you live, they have a whole list of them. Personally, that is not something I've looked into via pandemic, but we're getting there. My state in particular is 60% vaccinated, which is fucking nuts, dude. I love that for us. It outlines, like, especially if you're a woman, there is so much money for us to like take for starting businesses. I'm still looking into that because between all the other things I do, it's a little overwhelming to like figure out how to get a grant for something and write grants. I don't know how to do that. If you do, let a girl know. But there's also probably people in here who can help you with that. And it just like tells you what this is. It's so nice to just have a website that legitimately is all about resources, and it just helps you like sign up for stuff. You can make a business plan, a plan to launch your business, a plan to manage your business, a plan to grow your business. All of that sounds great. There's so much in here. Like, I'm just gonna like do market research, write your business plan, calculate your startup costs, fund your business. Launch it, pick your location, choose your structure, choose your name, register your business, apply for a license and permit, open a business bank account, manage your finances, hire and manage employees, pay your taxes, stay legally compliant, buy assets and equipment, marketing and sales, stay safe from cyber threats. Hot topic, right? Prepare for emergency. Walking through how to sell or close your business. Hiring people with disabilities. We love that. Grow your business. Get more funding. Expand to more locations. Merge and acquire other businesses. Become a federal contractor. Export products. Women-owned businesses. Native-owned businesses. Veteran-owned. LGBT-owned. Rural business. Minority-owned business. Everything I just listed is just information for free and available and up here for you. Like, that's the most inclusive government thing I think I've read ever. So if you're looking into that, whether you have a legit business idea or you just kind of want to experiment with your benefits between an LLC, I personally am going through the low key like thing. I'm not like trying to do all this business shit right away by myself as just Lauren, but me and my partners are looking at that. So it's just an option. If you want to say, fuck all the other jobs, I'm going to do my own, go for it. The SBA.gov is the place for you. Oh man, so I got real passionate about that. Again, it'll all be on my Patreon, or link will be in the comments if you're looking at this on YouTube, or the description rather. And that's everything I wanted to talk about today. So visit my Patreon for all these links. I have a couple of perks. I have a $2 perk to get next week's episode the same day you get this one. So get them a week early. And then I have my $7 tier, which is workbooks. So if you don't know, I make workbooks at the end of every month to cover all of the subjects for the theme of the month so that you don't have to listen to the podcast over and over. And sometimes it's just easier to read something than to listen to it a bunch. So I put it all in there. All these resources will be in there as well. Last day of every month is when I post it. And I took the other perks down because they weren't fitting in the structure. So if you have questions, like send me a message on Patreon, connect with me on LinkedIn, leave me a message. I will not accept you if you don't make an effort to write me something. Ask me questions, bother me, find me on TikTok. All of that stuff is The Creative Mentor. You can Google The Creative Mentor podcast to find everything else. And if you want to keep track of my Instagram or the YouTube channel, that's going to be my name, which is just Lauren Versino. It's spelled exactly how it sounds. And so find me on there, bother me, ask me questions. I love it. I'm on here all the time. TikTok's my favorite place on the planet. So, excuse me. So, that's everything, guys. And I will talk to you all next week.